What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Big Blue, and we are back. We're here with another video. This one's going to actually be from Audit the Audit, titled Corrupt Cops Break Into Innocent Man's Business After Refusing to Leave. This one should be interesting. We're going to see what these cops are doing, what they should be doing, what they shouldn't be doing. I think the way I'm going to do this is I'm actually going to cut out some of the extra talking. If you guys want to watch the whole video, get the full details, the educational wise, the link is going to be in the description below as usual. And don't forget to check out the shirts. And if you guys don't understand what that means, it essentially means one getter. As we're supposed to say, together in the body of Christ. We're actually going to be one getter in the body of Christ. We are one body in Christ, not two. Let's go ahead and get right into the video and see what's good.
Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers the knock and talk doctrine, license plates, and searches of private businesses, and is brought to us by a private submission. After midnight on February 5th, 2024, Officer Crawford and Officer Abel of the Waite Park Police Department were on patrol when they noticed an open garage door at a local upholstery business in Waite Park, Minnesota. The door was open because Hunter Clems, the brother of the shop owner, was inside working on his car, which had broken down and could not be driven home until it was fixed. The encounter that followed was captured on Officer Crawford's body camera.
Wait, so why were they there in the first place? Hold on, I missed that part.
Police department were on patrol when they noticed an open garage door at a local upholstery business in Waite Park, Minnesota.
So it was just suspicious.
Police department! Come to the door!
Officer Crawford knocks on the door of the business and tells Mr. Clems to, quote, come to the door. As we have covered in previous episodes of ATA, under the so-called knock and talk doctrine, police officers are legally permitted under the Fourth Amendment to go to private property, knock on the door, speak with whoever answers the door, and try to obtain consent to search the premises, even without any reasonable suspicion of criminal activity. This is because, in general, any member of the public can knock on a door to attempt to engage in a consensual conversation with whoever answers the door without violating a reasonable expectation of privacy. Now, in this situation, Officer Crawford did not simply knock on the door, but he announced that he was the police and ordered Mr. Clems to answer. Based on these facts, Mr. Clems would have a strong argument that Officer Crawford's actions implicated the Fourth Amendment, and that he did not open the door consensually.
Wouldn't call myself police if I wasn't them.
What's up? Oh, sorry. I thought you were one of my buddies with me. I'm sorry.
No, man. I came by, saw the garage open. It's 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh.
Trying to figure out what's going on.
I'm working on my car. I can't leave until I get it fixed.
Okay.
You scared the shit out of me.
No worries.
I was over there drilling, so yeah.
Is it just you here?
Yeah, it's just me.
Okay. You have permission to be here, or is this your shop? Or?
Yeah, I have permission to do it.
Okay, is it your shop?
No,
Or
it's
you
my,
work?
it's my buddy's shop. But
It's your buddy's shop?
But I work here, and I'm allowed here. I have a key here, so
Okay.
I'm doing the transmission on my, something on the transmission on my car, so
Okay.
I'm not allowed to, can't really leave.
I gotcha. I gotcha. You got your ID on your butt?
No, I didn't commit a crime.
Listen here, man. What I'm saying is, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. There's an open door. You're inside. I'm asking for your ID. Just let my bosses know, my boss, who I'm talking to. You're not in trouble.
You don't need to ID me.
Let's
Exactly,
not,
I'm not in
hey,
trouble.
hey, let's not do this.
So here's
the point?
Here's part. I'm assuming you work here, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's say you don't. What? No, just
You
hold
guys
on.
are going to give me the whole
No,
rundown and then try to give me the ID
No,
myself for no reason because I didn't commit a crime. I'm inside of
It's
private
more than
property.
just a crime, man. You work here, right? Let's say we find this door open, no one in here, or it turns out it's burglarized, and I have to contact someone.
But it's not. I'm not committing a crime. You don't need my ID.
Cool.
The officers ask Mr. Clems to identify himself, and Mr. Clems refuses. Now, although Minnesota has not passed a so-called stop and identify statute requiring citizens to identify themselves to law enforcement, an individual who refuses to identify themselves during a lawful Terry stop can potentially be convicted of violating the state obstruction statute.
Right.
This encounter, it is essential to note that, as the Supreme Court held in the 1979 case of Brown versus Texas, individuals cannot be criminally punished for refusing to identify themselves when the officer demanding identification does not have reasonable suspicion to believe that they are involved in criminal conduct. In this situation, the only basis for Officer Crawford's suspicion is that Mr. Clems was inside a private business after hours. There were no signs of forced entry and no signs of any sort of criminal activity occurring inside the business. Mr. Clems provided a reasonable explanation for his presence at the business that was consistent with the location, and the vehicle he was working on was clearly visible. The business owner had not reported an intruder at the property, and Officer Crawford had not received any calls reporting a break-in or unauthorized individual at the business. Accordingly, it seems unlikely that a court would determine that Officer Crawford had the reasonable suspicion necessary to require Mr. Clems to identify himself.
Wait,
That's how it is.
oh, is that how it is?
Yeah, it is.
Charles David
I have
Robert,
rights.
802. It's not about rights, man. It's about you're in a
I'm
shop.
not committing a crime.
We don't know that.
Well,
Or we call the owner. We figure out who you are.
so what's the crime? Suspicion?
Huh?
Some sort
Yeah,
of suspicion
it
of
would
crime.
be.
Or-
Well,
when
say-
is we don't
That's
know
what
that
they're
of
gonna
crime?
What we're doing is we're going to make it
You
a
guys
bigger
are
thing than it needs to
disgusting.
be.
Get out of here. Look at my freaking license plate number. God.
Absolutely.
You guys are disgusting. Get out of here.
From the doorway, Officer Crawford looks at the license plate on Mr. Clem's vehicle and calls the number into dispatch. Courts have generally concluded that the Fourth Amendment does not require officers to have any level of suspicion to look at a license plate number and run a search for the number in a police database. As such, officers can run tags of a vehicle in plain view without implicating the Fourth Amendment. However, officers cannot violate the Fourth Amendment in order to put themselves in a position to observe the license plate, since, as we discussed earlier in this episode, Officer Crawford may have violated the Fourth Amendment by ordering Mr. Clems to open the door. It is therefore possible that a court would conclude that Officer Crawford also violated the Fourth Amendment by running Mr. Clems's tags.
So essentially, based on what he's saying, the police cannot violate one amendment just to gather information for them to proceed with whatever investigation that they got going on. So they couldn't demand that homie open the door because he's just a citizen, unless given a full reason to open the door, which he didn't. Thus, he's not really allowed to run the license plate because he already violated that First Amendment. Now, if it was outside, then yes, he could have done so because that's the whole plain sight thing. But because it wasn't outside and it was inside of private property, in which he wasn't really given permission to come inside initially, or at all for that matter, then yeah, now cops in violation. Interesting.
You don't need my ID.
It's all a matter about process. It's all about the flow chart on how everything goes. Flow matters.
Well, we're going to go down a road we don't really need to go down, man. Yeah.
Why do I need my name in your system any more than it has to be?
It's just you work here. Let's just make sure that you do.
How are you going to prove that I do?
Huh?
How are you going to prove that I do?
Well, I can always call the business owner
Okay,
in the
have
morning.
fun. He's
Right?
not going to answer because he's sleeping.
Okay, I can call the business owner in the morning.
Okay.
I can give him your name,
Okay.
and he says, "Oh yeah, he works here. No problem."
What's
And we're
the point
done.
of that?
Wait, but if he doesn't call him in the morning, what does that mean for him during the time being?
He ain't going to call it in because there's nothing going on.
But then, say you don't work here, right?
He's going to call it in that his shop's been with.
Yep, and then
So
I know
right away in the morning,
and then I know who was here, and I
yeah,
can
I don't
add
have to help you with your investigation.
Perfect.
It's on my rights.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna check and make sure. Watch out.
But no, I don't know. I don't
touch me.
I don't
Back
give you
up.
consent. I don't give you consent.
This isn't your
How
personal
how
property.
not?
Move.
What? How? You don't have the right to do this.
I do.
No, you don't. What are you
Is
gonna
it-
check for, dude?
Who else is here? Just you?
Nobody.
Okay.
Dude, you don't have the right to do this. Get out of here.
It's not your personal property. I'm gonna make sure nothing looks burglarized in here.
Oh my God, you don't have the right to do this.
I
dude.
absolutely do, sir.
Nothing is burglarized.
Okay.
Get out of here. I did not give you permission to be in here.
Well, you don't have to give me permission.
Yes, I do. You can't just come into a private property.
Despite Mr. Clems's repeated objections, Officer Crawford searches the business premises. As the Supreme Court explained in the 1967 case of Camara versus Municipal Court, quote, except in certain carefully defined classes of cases, a search of private property without proper consent is unreasonable unless it has been authorized by a valid search warrant. Quote,
so homie's not even, he didn't even, if he got a call that there was something that was going on here, I think that would have been a different story. That would have been a different story. That would have given him the full rights to be able to go and search. Maybe. If he had a warrant, then he definitely would have had the rights to go and search, of course. But the fact that he wasn't a call, he was just driving by and then saw this was going on. You like, yeah, nah, officer, you already not doing, yeah, that's crazy. Of course, I know this now as it's being explained, so now it makes sense. But before I didn't know, so don't think I'm a smarty.
Quote, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects. The Supreme Court has repeatedly held that business premises are protected by the Fourth Amendment. And since Officer Crawford was engaged in a criminal investigation and not an administrative inspection when he entered the business premises, which at the time were not open to the public, it is likely that a court would conclude that his search violated the Fourth Amendment unless he had so-called exigent circumstances to enter the property without a warrant. Now, although there was clearly no ongoing emergency or a threat to anyone's safety, Officer Crawford could potentially argue that he was concerned that Mr. Clems could destroy some sort of evidence inside the premises. However, as the Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals explained in the 1990 case of U.S. versus Munoz, quote, in addition to showing exigent circumstances, the government must show that the officer had probable cause to search the apartment. And as we mentioned earlier in this episode, it is doubtful that Officer Crawford even had reasonable suspicion, let alone probable cause. And as such, it is likely that a court would determine that the search of the business violated the Fourth Amendment.
Get out of here.
Copy. What was that name again?
You can't just come into here for no reason. I didn't commit a crime.
Say it again.
I didn't commit a crime, so you can get out of here now.
10-4. Hunter?
Yeah.
Easy enough.
Yeah,
Have a good
cool.
night.
Thanks for violating my rights.
It's not your rights. It's
Yes, it
private
is. It's my rights. This is private property. You
It
can't
is
just
a
walk
private
in.
business at 2 o'clock in the morning. You're in
Private
here,
business.
and
You
you
get that?
will not,
Private
you will not
business.
identify yourself.
Private
I don't
business.
know who
I
you
don't
are.
have to. I didn't commit a crime.
You're in a private business
So?
at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly.
Past the
2
hours
o'clock
of
in the
closing.
morning
It
does
seems
not
like he's
matter.
not listening
Past
to
the hours
himself.
I'm over 18. Past the
fine.
hours of closing. This is a
Past the
private
hours of
business.
closing. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. The garage is open. You're inside. The business has been closed, I'm assuming, since about 5, 6 o'clock.
So what does that tell you? The garage
That
is
it
open.
could possibly be burglarized. Yeah, you could be in here doing something you're not supposed to. That
Just
you may not
burglarized.
have permission to
Why
be
would I
in
leave
here.
that open
Hold on,
if I was
hold on.
burglarizing something?
Hold on, I don't know that. But what I can do is now I can confirm that this person, this vehicle was inside of this business, and if the owner calls in tomorrow and says, this person was in here and you didn't have permission to be, then I know who I can come and talk to first. You understand?
Yeah.
You have
but
any
you're still
questions
violating
about
my rights.
It's not
I
your
don't
rights.
have to tell you that.
Well, you do.
No, I really don't.
You do.
No, I
And we
could've-
can make
I
it a
could've-
bigger deal
I
than it
could have
needs
just
to be.
not answered the door.
You could have, and then I would have went in underneath there.
Then you would have broke into a business.
That's not breaking in. I'm the police. I'm in charge to make sure
You don't
that
have
crime-
rights. I told you you could not come in here.
Yep. And
You don't have rights to come in here.
Well, you're not identifying yourself. A business has been
I don't
closed
have
for
to.
hours.
I don't have to.
Like I said, I'm not.
I don't
gonna
have to
explain
help
it
you
again.
in your investigation, dude. So you can go into anybody's house. If anybody's house has
This is not a
ground
house,
floor-
sir. This
Dude,
is
it's a private it's a
business.
private property. No, it's a private property.
business.
Does it matter?
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
private property. You
You're
can leave
a-
now. You can leave.
Like I said,
You can leave.
Did I explain my point?
No.
You have any questions about it?
Yeah, thanks for violating my rights.
It's not violating your rights.
Well, I don't have to let you in.
Yep.
So, and I don't have
you
to
don't
tell you
have
my
to
name.
let me in.
I don't have to
I
tell
don't
you my
need your
name
permission
either.
to let me in.
I don't have to tell you my name.
You
either.
refuse to identify
I don't
yourself.
have to help you with your
You refuse to identify yourself in a business that's been
Okay.
closed after
You can
hours.
shut
You have
that.
any questions
You can
about
shut
that?
that
I'll be contacting the owner. Make sure you have permission in the morning. Okay?
I'll talk.
Have a good night.
Have fun.
After the officers left the business, they contacted Mr. Clems's brother, who confirmed that Mr. Clems had permission to be in the garage. The next day, Mr. Clems went to the Waite Park Police Department to file a complaint and spoke with Officer Abel, who maintained that he and Officer Crawford did nothing wrong, but provided Mr. Clems with the forms he needed to file a complaint. However, Mr. Clems told me in an email that when he returned the complaint forms, he spoke with a sergeant who told him that the officers were allowed to take the actions that they took.
Ooh.
It is unknown whether Mr. Clems intends to pursue any legal legal action regarding this encounter. Overall, Officer Crawford and Officer Abel get an F for maintaining hostile and confrontational demeanors throughout the encounter, failing to take basic investigative steps before resorting to shows of authority, and likely violating the Fourth Amendment in the process. Although the fact that someone was inside the upholstery business late at night could potentially be suspicious, whether or not an officer has the reasonable suspicion necessary to detain and identify an individual is based on the totality of the circumstances. In this situation, the officers did not receive any calls regarding an unauthorized individual in the business, and there were no signs of forced entry. It also seems unlikely that an individual who was engaged in criminal activity inside the business would leave the garage door open to alert passersby of their presence. Rather than contact the business owner first, or even go to the door to engage in a consensual knock and talk, the officers ordered Mr. Clems to open the door, demanded that he identify himself, and then search the property without consent or exigent circumstances. This encounter demonstrates how officers can run afoul of the Fourth Amendment when they fail to make use of the many non-invasive investigative methods available to them and instead immediately resort to unnecessary shows of authority.
Interestingly enough, so what did we learn today? We learned that a private business has the same protection as if you were in a house. I do understand why the police officer felt like he needed to go inside and verify that everything was okay, but this is the part where, just like the same way how regular citizens have to obey the laws and due process and all that stuff, police have to do the exact same thing. If it was a public park, okay. If it was in a parking lot, okay. I don't know what other public buildings. If it was like in I don't know, school system, if it was at a school, or if it was at, let's say, like a library, then yeah, okay, that would make sense if you trying to go in and see exactly what's going on within the facilities. But this is a private property. You can't do that unless you got a warrant or unless you got a call of something that was going on where it gives you reason for the suspicion, because you got a call that something was happening at this location, but you didn't. Very interesting stuff. Interesting video. Hope to do more audit videos because I like to see exactly. You guys already know that I've been seeing a lot of the from the police side, seeing the ridiculous that's going on from the police side, but now we're seeing the police doing some ridiculousness to the citizens. Interesting stuff. Let's go ahead and continue to learn and do everything one getter. If you guys like the shirt, go ahead and hit me up on TikTok. Let me know if you want a shirt. I catch you in the next one. Take it easy. Peace.